This is good news. Okay, so long story made short, if I probably don't need to give you another intro about who I am or what we're up to, but I'm Viv. I am a co-founder of Project Read. It's really an honor to have you all tonight and to have you wait as we figured things out. I really appreciate it. We build a bunch of cool stuff, I think, at projectread.ai. Um, and I kind of bucket those into two separate categories, one of which is tools for teachers that a lot of you might be familiar with, like the decodable story generator and the UFly assessment and planning portal, which is new this year and is awesome. And then we also have our student facing tool, the AI Tutor. And what a lot of people don't know is that's originally what we started with until we kind of hit pause because we were hearing from a ton of teachers, hey, this is really cool, but we need tools for us. We don't have enough decodables. And that was, now over 2 years ago, which is crazy. However, my dream has always has been to build tools that are both helpful for teachers but also for students because we know that we as a country are not where we need to be when it comes to reading outcomes, certainly on the comprehension side but even on the foundational skill side. And to that end, um, we have kind of, as time and resources have allowed, have tried to continue to work on that tutor in the background over time, and we've incrementally made improvements over time as well. Tonight, I'm really excited to bring you a story about a teacher that took a chance on bringing this new tool into her classroom and what came out of that. Before I turn it over to her and just kind of have a conversation, I want to just show you what we're actually talking about. So, our AI tutor is really focused on decoding and fluency at the sentence level right now, but I want to just show you what feedback in a student using it at the word level looks like. So it uses speech recognition down to the phoneme, and it progressively provides more scaffolds as a student continues to make mistakes. You will see this student in the course of 90 seconds really avail themselves of all of those scaffolds. And once we play that video, my slides are done, and we turn it over to the conversation with Christy.
The the dad.
Tap the boxes to hear each sound, then try reading again. B. D.
Bed. D e b. Deb.
Try reading this word carefully. Take your time to look at the letters and listen to how this word sounds. B. D. E. Bed. Bed.
Bed. Bed.
Great job. You read that word correctly.
Okay, so you get the basic flow, and if you are on this call, you're probably a literacy person. Um, you also probably care a lot about evidence-based literacy, and I think empirical evidence and data and stats at scale are really important. If we have time afterwards, I would love to talk a little bit about how we're thinking about that. But for now, I really want this to be about why we're all here fundamentally, about the human stories. And with that, I'm going to now loop back in my friend Christy and kick it off. Let me bring this here. So I'm actually looking at you. Cool. So, Christy, thank you so much for being with us. And the reason why you are here is because out of the blue, you sent me an email over the summer, and I won't forget where I was when I got it. I was at the New York airport, and I was on the shuttle bus between Terminal C and Terminal A, and I saw this on my phone, and I just I get a lot of notes that are very moving and that make me very excited about what we're up to and what we're building. But this one was different. And ultimately, we're going to get to that story. But before we jump in to the story itself, I would love to hear a little bit more just about who you are, what your current role is, and how you got there, what your career in education has looked like.
Thank you so much, Viv. I my as a young child, my interest was always cultures. My favorite book from a very young age was National Geographic. I waited with bated breath every month for that to arrive. I was told my whole life I should be a teacher, but I had teachers in my family, and I didn't want to be a teacher. And I didn't even think I liked children until my husband and I decided to start a family. And when my son started kindergarten, I volunteered in the classroom every single day with him. I had the opportunity to stay with home with him, and I was not happy about losing him every day. And I fell in love with the classroom right away. I never left. I stayed as a classroom volunteer his whole kindergarten year. I went with him to first grade. I got really close to the teachers at the school. I started substitute teaching. And then I finally eventually got my own classroom. By the time I got my own classroom, I knew that I had a deep interest in multilingual learners. Their personalities fascinated me. I loved getting to know them. And a lot of the struggling reader issues are consistent with our ELLs. There's language processing and language development go hand in hand a lot. So I sponsored a multicultural club at my school, and we were playing a lot of games, and we were meeting. Year before last, we met twice a week, and then we moved to or twice a week, and then we went to once a month last year, and they were not happy about that. And I said, well, babies, if you will read, maybe we could play some more. And they said, really? And I said, yeah. So I started searching. I'd been doing a lot of research in the science of reading. I'd started my own.
Oh no, she paused on us. Sorry, guys, tech is not our friend tonight.
Sounds to the letters.
Christy, we
No,
lost you
it's
for
not.
like 10-ish seconds. We heard that you
Oh,
had kind of incentivized students in your multicultural club to meet more often if they were willing to read and work on
yes.
their reading, and that's where we lost you.
Okay, well, that's a perfect place. The problem with that is they had no one to support them in reading outside of the classroom. I knew from my small group work with them that I needed to hear them say the word. I needed to hear the sounds in the word, and I needed to give that immediate corrective feedback for them to grow and for those sounds to set in their brain.
And Christy, just to
I
jump in real quick, before we get all the way into the AI tutor and the tool and all that stuff, tell us what you teach and where you're located and who are the multilingual learners that you largely work with.
Okay, perfect. I teach second grade reading. The multilingual learners that I work with are primarily Brazilian and Jamaican, although we have over 44 different cultures represented at our school, and that's Destin Elementary in Okaloosa County School District in northern Florida, in the
Awesome.
Panhandle. Yeah. So I was looking, desperately looking at the beginning of last school year for a tool. I was thinking maybe a read aloud that would track the words as they read, but everything that I found was language heavy. I wanted sound phoneme graphing correspondence. I wanted a clone of me in small group. And I was on MZ website and I saw a little plug for something called Project Read AI. And when I clicked on it, I saw the video that you just showed. And I thought, that is me. That is a clone of me. They can do this. And then I saw how easy it was to use. So I wrote a letter to the parents, and that's how we got going. Are you ready for the magical story?
Not yet.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about the other students. There's one story in particular that you wrote me about, but tell us, and now you've used it again this year. Tell us
Yes.
both how you used it in your after school club with multilingual learners and how you've also then this year used it in your classroom and what you've seen.
Okay. I have used the AI tutor with multilinguals first, and that was predominantly home-based. I did not have access to them with the tool at school other than in the club, which wasn't very effective. I have used it with tutor students after school, and I have now this year. I feel like I broke up. Did you
You
lose
did.
me?
You did. You said you started to use it with students that you additionally tutor as well.
Yes, yes. So tutoring students after school, and now this year I'm implementing it in the classroom. And that's been really, really exciting and interesting to see multiple students of all levels accessing the tool. They're all having different results from it and different reactions to it. And it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, good, bad, and ugly. Tell us about how it's gone.
Okay, so I was nervous about implementing it in the classroom. I'd only used it without headphones with me working with a child. And so I bought some headphones with a microphone this year, knowing that I was going to use it in the classroom, and my classroom is noisy. So I made some spaces in my room, a couple of little, we call them hidey holes. And I started with my lowest babies and giving them the opportunity to practice. I have one multilingual learner this year who came to me head down, looking at his feet, would not make eye contact, wasn't talking to other children. That child has spent, now I do tutor him after school twice a week. So he has classroom time with me and 2 tutor spots after school. He is looking everyone in the eye. He is talking and smiling. He is reading CVC words and magic E words. It is amazing the transition that's happened with him in such a short amount of time. My high flyers are begging to use the tutor, and it's because they're seeing the phoneme graphing correspondence in prefixes and suffixes, and that is new learning for them, and it's helping them understand how to fit together multisyllabic words. It's really, really helpful for them. They feel like they're getting a little head start on pre-learning. We haven't really tackled prefixes and suffixes. They've been exposed, but they're getting that explicit instruction and, again, the immediate feedback.
So you mentioned you have some students that are excited to read with the tutor. What are kind of the range of reactions that you've seen to students working with it? Are they excited? Are they
It
nervous?
varies. It varies. From excitement, my students who are not nervous about decoding, they've got most of their vowel teams, they're pretty much on track where they need to be, always raise their hand to read aloud in class. Those friends have no apprehension about her. They get frustrated when they don't pronounce a word right because they know they're reading it right. So we talk about how picky she is. She has a name. So if I say Lola, that's who I'm talking about. We call her Lola, and you, Viv, are Lola's dad. So we have conversations about her regularly.
It's my first child I'm aware of.
Yes. Yes. So my reluctant readers, what I have seen is when they are in small group with me, it's almost painful. I can see that they are hesitant to read. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to disappoint me. When they're with Lola, they don't have that. They don't have the inhibition to speak. They don't have, they're much more, they're taking more risks on the computer with her than they are with me. And it's being reinforced so well. They're coming back. And day 2 of a group, I have them in small group, and we talk about our pattern. We practice with our pattern. Then I send that small group away from my table with Lola. Okay, go read with Lola. When they come back to me the next day, I can see that they have had that practice compared to kids last year in my small groups. I would the same profile of children, the ones that we have to do this practice with 25 times before we know it's set. Those kids are the ones that are really, really, really benefiting from this. We just finished our iReady testing this week, And I can say that all of the students that have used the tool in their phonemic awareness, we're maxing out on phonemic awareness, and their phonics scores are through the roof. And I can't say verbatim that it's the tutor, but I know that the patterns are sticking and they're getting that oral reading fluency in the sentence form that I'm only one person. I can't listen to every kid read a sentence and give them that immediate feedback. It feels like a clone. She feels like a small group clone.
And a couple more questions for you. How often do you have students typically reading? Is it every day of the week? Is it a couple days of the week? Is it at home? And like, yeah, I'm curious kind of what the dose
It's
looks
every
like.
day of the week. It's every day of the week. We talk a lot about brain science in my classroom. I try to share with the children what I learn. It helps us all understand and have a little more motivation behind what we're doing. And they know. I've told them 7 minutes a day. If you can get on there for 7 minutes a day, it's going to add up. But they stay longer. Can I stay longer? Can I stay longer? So we do a rotation. I have work time. We have flexible. We have our whole group lessons, and then we break into our independent work or whatever it is, working with a partner. That's when they use it. And they've done a great job just taking turns.
Yeah, well, I think there's something that you highlighted there because I myself, ironically, have, my inhibitions about screen time or how much screen time students have. But I think what you mentioned is, 7 to 10 minutes
Yeah,
a day, if it's free,
yeah.
can go a really long way. And I think so much of the screen time that does happen in schools, it's like you see, it's like glaze over kids' eyes. It's empty calories, right? Versus something that is more nutrient dense, to further the analogy. So 7 minutes a day is it's not surprising, and I actually encourage like smaller bursts with more frequency, which is great.
I agree. I agree 100%.
And
The accountability, Viv, I would like to say that the accountability, one of the biggest challenges that teachers have during center time is accountability. Are they really doing something productive that's going to help them, or is that just a waste of their time? I know when they are reading with Lola, I get the data to support it. I know that their practice is productive. It is serving a purpose and it is what they need.
so tell me a little bit about how you use that data. What data do you like looking at? What do you get? How does it kind of further that accountability you're talking about?
I'm looking at phoning grapheme correspondence. I'm looking at what sound patterns they're missing. So when I do my weekly look at my data, I'm looking at each kid's account and I'm seeing if there's a pattern in the patterns that they missed. If they're consistently missing, I've got to do a drill down on and they need some more practice on. All of that reading that they do over the week, Lola is able to capture the inaccuracies way better than I could because I would be exhausted by the time I got through kid 5. She does a great job of capturing the inaccuracies so that I can then go back and ensure that those gaps are filled.
Very helpful. I think data is kind of a good segue because data is what alerted you to our friend that you're going to tell us about. And for context, folks, Christy has full permission of the family to share the story. I had the chance last night as we were planning for the webinar to quickly get to FaceTime with mom, who Christy goes and has dinner with regularly, which was really awesome. And hearing from her directly was very moving as well. But you first first tell us about this student and then we can transition to how you thought, oh, so what something might be going on with her and the tutor.
Okay, so it was Christmas break and last year, and I introduced this Cash for Kicks program to my MCers. I gave them their class code and said, get on there and read. We had a Christmas party right before that, so the parents were there. That helped. I was able to show the parents how it worked. And I said, go read. And then it was Christmas break, so I was having Christmas break. But I kept getting these emails that somebody was reading. They're reading. I thought, okay, they're reading. They really want to play ball when we come back to school. A couple of days before we came back to school, I finally opened it up to see who was reading, see who was going to win, because we did a contest who could earn the most money for the month. And I open it up, and there's two sisters, Brazilian sisters. And everybody else got 200, 300, 400 points. They had over 1,000.
Which is a lot. Like that takes
A
hours.
lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the funny thing was, one of these sweet girls was in my second grade reading class, and she was a selective mute. She was well past her silent period. I knew from working with her in small group that she was able to recognize, point to the correct word. She was able to use the manipulatives to spell CVC words and magic E words, but she was not speaking. And so I said, what? We went to Mama's restaurant right away because I didn't understand. I couldn't understand, how is she doing this
And
if she's
yeah,
not
just
speaking?
to like spotlight it for a student that never speaks, you were wondering how she was racking it up on the AI tutor.
Exactly. I was like, I didn't believe it, Viv. I didn't believe it. So I went to her mother and brought my phone and pulled it up to her mother and said, what? And Mom said, yes, she's gone in the closet all by herself and she's reading. She's repeating back and she's doing it. So that sweet girl is chatty Chatty. She loves to talk. She is out of her shell. She's talking. She's growing like a weed. And the email to you, Viv, was thanking you because it was Lola that did that. It gave her the courage to speak. And I've seen it again this year with my little boy that's in my class. He is speaking way more than he did. And he has a confidence on his face. He understands and he knows he can do it. It's the extra practice and that no inhibition, there's no fear.
Yeah, that gets me every time. I
It,
remember seeing that and being just blown away, and just the image in my mind of this little lovely girl that crawled into the closet and is hiding from mom as well, but who's listening to her read through the
right?
closet is just
Mom
very
and the older sister were on the other side of the door listening.
well. I'm glad that my daughter Lola could have helped her in her journey
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. Lola's great.
And I appreciate you so much for writing because I know how much teachers have to do. And I remember the email you sent me was over the summer and it was prefaced with, I'm sorry I didn't send this earlier. I've been swamped and I wanted to share this. And I appreciate that you did because truly, like my week, my favorite part of every week is hearing from people that are actually in schools using what we're up to. When
Yeah.
things go great, obviously that's awesome, but even when they don't, what could be made better? Like those are I think the most productive things that I hear in my day to day. I know we have some folks that probably have some questions, and I did see a raised hand, and I'm horrible when it comes to mute for to Zoom, but I do think it's Laura Rice. Let me see if I can pop you in here. And are you cool to take some questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. All right, you have the floor, Laura, and please tell me if I'm saying your name wrong. That might be a mistake. Maybe we don't have a question. Uh, any questions? Okay, we will remove Laura, but you're free to raise your hand again at some point. Are there any other questions, whether folks want to raise their hand or throw them into the actual chat, or whether you want to put them into Q&A?
I might know some of those people in that audience. I encourage them to ask questions.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, outside of the massive check I'm writing you to make up this story, I'm joking. Um, you mentioned that you wanted people to know this story. Like, what have you told other teachers? Why does this feel important? Why, like what compelled you to even suggest doing something like this?
I don't know any teacher on the planet, particularly a primary teacher, who wouldn't give anything for a clone. And what I'm telling teachers is this is a clone of your small group instruction. There is not a tool that I have found that will listen at the phoneme level, give that immediate feedback, and explicit instruction on how to correct the mistake with multiple opportunities to correct that mistake. It's incredible. It's incredible. And there's no fluff.
Yeah, yeah.
Tool.
It's
It is
kind
a
of to the
clear
point.
cut tool. And it's not going to replace any teachers. Anyone who has fear of AI, the only AI component to this that I feel like teachers need to understand and appreciate is what I learned from your last webinar, Viv, was about your LLM. Most large language models are word based, yours is sound based. For any K1, 2 teacher, they know the importance of that. And that is the magic in the tool. That's what I want people to understand. It is very teacher hands off, it is very student hands on, and keeps them accountable. You, as the teacher, know that they're getting the good practice they need.
Very helpful. I have a couple follow-ups, but I think some other folks have questions that they've now thrown in here as well. How do you manage the sound interference with other students that are using the AI tutor? Christy, did you hear that question that I posed or no?
I didn't.
All good. A question from Christina was, how do you manage sound interference with other students using the tutor?
Like I said, I have we call it the hidey hole. My whole class knows when we're having partner work time, we're using whisper voices. We have friends that are reading with Lola. Lola needs to hear them. I have an office that is connected to my classroom, and I put 2 kids in the office with the door open. I have a line of sight to both of these places. I have a line of sight to my office. I have a line of sight to what we call the hidey hole. I also have a comfy spot under the shelf over here with pillows. That's right by my desk. So if they're tucked away with a good quality headphone with a microphone, I'm actually using Turtle Beach gamer headphones, and they're awesome. It is the microphone. If you get that external microphone and its quality, there's not a lot of interference.
Yeah, I think that's a key point is the gaming headphones or headphones that have a mic go a really long way. Unfortunately, we know that sometimes schools or classrooms don't have that or they don't have enough of them. And so a couple different things just to piggyback on that. One, if you can get those gamer headphones, awesome. If you can't, what that probably means is like whole class using it at once is not viable. There's going to be too much noise
I
in the
can't
background.
see that.
There's some stuff that we do to try to distill and filter noise, but it's still not, it's not going to do that perfectly. So I think centers are a good way to do it. Spacing students out are a good way to do it. And then maybe I can hit two birds with one stone. At home, this is accessible on any device that has an internet connection. So you don't need to have a smartphone that is downloading specific, or you don't need to have an iPhone, for example, that has an iOS app store to download the app or anything like that. If you have an internet connection, it's viable. So we have resources on the site in the user guide that include a parent letter that Christy personalized or filled out with her classroom's class code, but it is very easy to do at home, even from a parent's phone or tablet or something like that, as long as it has an internet device, even if it's lower bandwidth.
Viv, can I give some feedback on parent
Yeah,
input?
sure.
I really cannot stress enough the importance and the ease of home use. I've had 3 different parent meetings this year, and sharing Lola with them. Those kids are using it at home. I had parents contact me over Christmas break to make sure they had the class code. There are a lot of parents out there who really want to understand how to help their children learn to read. They know there's information that's new and different, but they don't understand it. This tool makes that learning for parents crystal clear.
Totally. I think that's such a key thing is like parents want to support their kids. Now, if, most educators have experienced a variety of families and parental approaches, but I think fundamentally most all parents want that, right? And it really is just direct and to the point. I actually think it's easier to build it for home use than the classroom because of schools' bandwidth issues and all the headphones and multiple kids. So Honestly, it's like it works better at home, if anything. And it's more a
Yep.
question of communication and setting parents up to understand it.
Yes.
The other question I had for you, I know there's a couple more that I'm going to try to get to in here. There's kind of two ways. I see like it's kind of 50-50 with how teachers use the tutor. You can either set students up on like their initial lesson in the fly scope and sequence and the initial mode, whether that's at the word level for just getting that decoding accuracy, whether it's sentence level fluency. Do you kind of set it up once per child and then let the AI take the wheel and advance them? Or are you moving around, moving them up, moving them down, like kind of putting your hands more on the wheel?
Thank you for asking that question, Viv. It's something that I've been working with this year, certainly with the classroom kids. I did experience the same situation with a tutor child that kind of lightened up my mind about it for moving into the classroom. So I was working with a student over the summer. Student has been diagnosed with dyslexia. We had worked through, he was working with Lola at home and with me in tutoring twice a week. We were making progress, but very slow. When we got to digraphs, seemed to be progressing just fine. Got into close to lesson 52, and we were spiraling back, spiraling back. There was a gap. We were not, the digraphs were not sticking. We were messing up and didn't understand voiced th was not sticking. So that was a time that I went back and I set him back to those digraphs. And then I said, when he got through the digraphs again, I set him back again. But he knows his digraphs now. In the classroom, same experience. Lowest of my babies, again with the digraphs. Digraphs are really hard. Nasal A is really hard. I'm going to have a conversation with you about that, Viv. Nasal A.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I watch it. You know, if I see a gap when we're reading our decodables in UFly and our digraphs were a long time ago. Those kids that need that repeated practice, yes, I'm going to put them on the digraphs and they're going to go through that again until I see that they're not having those gaps. It's a great tool that way. I have a third grader who needed shun. Shun was nowhere in his repertoire, and Lola and the shun was what he needed.
Yeah, totally. A few more questions I'm going to take on here. So one was just basic question about access and pricing. If you sign up for a new account, if you already have an old account, you might not see the trial, but if you sign up for a new account, a free teacher account at projectread.ai, the tutor has a 90-day free trial, and after that, it's $15 per student for the whole year. Now, I still know that that can add up for a teacher that's paying out of pocket. So please do email me, viv@projectread.ai. We really think that, like, on principle in particular for the tutor, it should be something that schools and districts pay for, not teachers out of pocket. And we're very, very, very generous with the trials to try to do that. So if access is ever a problem for you personally, or you have a parent or something, please do email us, and me personally, viv@projectread.ai, because we do scholarships in bulk. And I think that this is the tool I would really love for students that need access to it to be able to get access to it.
Absolutely.
Um, there was another question here. Are you the only teacher in your school that is using this tool? So talk a little bit about the others that are using it, and then also maybe what are some of the hesitations or objections you've gotten from those who are not yet doing so?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I am not the only one using it at my school because Viv asked my school to do a pilot of the tutor, and we said yes. So right now we have myself, 2 other second grade teachers, 3 fourth grade teachers already on board. We have quite a few students across the school using the tutor. Our ESE, both of our ESE teachers are also very excited about this and will be feeding in any students that aren't actively participating that they think need to be. So teachers are using it, Viv, but everyone has a lot on their plate, and not everyone understands how this fits into the phonics equation or why it's even important. Asking them to do something in addition to what they're already doing, asking them to do something that is AI driven and technology based is been a bit of a challenge where teachers are pretty overwhelmed. I really hope that I don't see how any teacher could see this tool and not see the value in it. I hope that they will give it a try because it is a blessing. It has made my life so much easier. And it's made me feel like a better teacher because there's multiples of me now. And it's not hard
Well, I
on the
appreciate
teacher
you
side.
sharing that.
It's not hard.
And I get it. Like change is difficult. Trying something new is difficult. Figuring out no matter how intuitive I think we've made it, like change is starting anything new is tough, especially when this is
It
something
is.
that's optional and there are things you have to do that are mandatory, right?
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
totally understand triaging that and why teachers might have hesitation, but to your point, I think when people do try it, what I typically see is when a classroom, tries it once, kids are getting out the kinks, they're figuring out how to use it. By the second or third time, if you get to that point and you're consistent about it, it goes pretty smooth sailing. The
Yeah.
other thing that I think is just harder is, corralling young kids, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a bit of a challenge there. So all of which is to say that I appreciate you one taking the chance on it from the jump without anybody prompting you to, and then two evangelizing it at your school.
That's how I roll. I don't stay on the path.
Um, with that, Christy, any last closing words or thoughts?
Thank you, Viv. Thank you for building this. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to advertise it to anybody that will listen. I really, really, really believe that this is a tool that we're going to see for a long time. I'm so excited about the encoding part too.
Well,
It's
thank
amazing.
I appreciate that because candidly, the thing that I love building the tools, I love talking to teachers. The thing that I am least naturally inclined to is the communication, the storytelling, the marketing around it. And I think the most powerful thing is just hearing from people who have actually used the tool in their classroom. And um, you being willing to share means a lot to me too.
Awesome.